Sec here, get the right screen. I'm adding it right at the top, the best new UNB to talk about their initiatives with youth, and their PR with me, with APEG-NB Northeast. I'm going to talk about the new net zero energy housing initiative through Canada Housing, CHBA. Talking about Enercan, the money out there for level chargers, for what Tesla's doing now with solar canopy. Going to talk about the International Putt Fest, and thankfully we got our own Peter McDonald on here to talk about that and plans for May 2022. Going to talk about a few new companies, MJM Solar, Polaron, a solar project in Shayak going on, and Adam, how do you pronounce your company name again? That's Sophopoulos?
Fabulous.
Okay, Fabulous, and that's another company we're featuring today too. So we've got about an hour's, and I'm allowing 15 minutes for some guests. In particular, one of the featured guests is today is going to be the new Center of Energy of Excellence that was just announced last week. So that's another agenda item too. So I'm going to share my screen. Any question before any added agenda? Lauren, any EOS? Did you want me to plug you in for 5 minutes too today, or Amanda, you too? You guys can plug yourselves in. But I'm going to share my screen here, and let me get my notes here to make sure. Okay, good. So again, I'd like to introduce Peter. Is this your first time online? First, before I forget, with the group.
Yeah, that would be my first one with the group.
Yeah, so this is Peter McDonald. Peter's a JMH physics science teacher. He's first time on here, and Adam's first time on here. Adam Morgan, right? Yeah. And Peter's from Miramichi. Adam, you're in Fredericton, am I correct? Just to
That's
get
right, yep.
Yeah. So we'll have Lauren and Amanda. We'll get into introductions as I get to your where you're at too. But what I want to do is start with. And with me is Ray Ritchie, the chair of APEG-NB Northeast, and Tim Humes, who's been a big volunteer supporter with me, and he's been to every meeting. He puts up with my solar talk all the time, and he's with me too. But this is Divested runs UNB St. Thomas. My son just graduated from St. Thomas last night with 2 degrees and an honorary distinction, a great university to support the liberal arts. And it's really not about technology. It's about getting the message out. And our mission for clean energy over the last few is youth awareness and trades, buy local as much as we can, and 3 eco experiences. And there's a lot of new companies. I've never seen such a dynamic environment for climate change lately, especially with net zero. And this group, Divest UNB, if you want to go to the link, I'll put it right in the chat, so you don't have to type that. They're looking for youth stories about the mission of green energy and making the campus at UNB and St. Thomas green. And they're looking for, if you have kids or know about any groups, I sent this to Peter. Peter, I sent it to your student Grayson Harris today to send it along. And they're looking for 20 letters from 13 to 25-year-olds residing in New Brunswick who plan to stay around here to push clean 800 to 1,200 words. Please send it Kelly Green. Excuse me, they're going to receive an $50 honorarium from Raven. Look forward to highlighting the visions of young voices. And these are going to be a little bit edited by New Brunswick Media Co-op. But UNB's, it's called the Raven group, and Rose May, who's one of the students now hired, she's an electrical engineer who's hired, by the way, she's at UNB still studying. She just got hired for this group. and she may join us later in the. She's working full time, and
So see the Kelly Green to Stu, eh?
yeah, Stu. Yeah, you and me and Stu. This is a combined initiative called Raven, and so it's a ravenresearch.org if you want to go to that, and you can learn about. Actually, I'll take you to the site while here, just so you can see some of the things going on. But they featured me because I was helping Rose with something with green, with Divest UNB, and they're also talking to APEG and B head office. And our new rep, I don't know if Beth Arsenal is on, but Beth Arsenal is our new youth connector at head office for APEG and B. So this is the Voices of Fossil Fuel Divestment. Now, our group's not an activist group. We're a council to help promote awareness. We're applied scientists. We're not pure scientists. We're not going to invent hydrogen. We're not going to invent the solar cell. Our job is to help people understand solar. So in May this year, this group is really trying to make aware in New Brunswick to get off fossil fuels and adapt to climate change for a greener future for New Brunswick. And they've been doing this for a while. This group, the Raven group, it's their rural action and voices. What's great about the rural action is that we're very rural up north here, from Dalhousie, Campbellton, Beresford, Miramichi is a rural city. And they're working with all the Jedi group, which I'm working with right now on another project from Fredericton, the Environmental Network, Coalition for Responsible Energy Development in Brunswick. And one of the things I'm going to mention today is the new Center of Excellence for Energy. Okay, and so I'm looking for, if you want to call it, poster childs. So there's the poster they did of me, and they're looking in particular for more, hint, Adam, or Laura, or anybody, Peter. They're looking for more fossil fuel, I don't know, role models, right? And Amanda and Lauren and Adam, you're all pushing clean energy in this, either in the schools or and Peter yourself. So they're looking for the second, I was the first, they're looking for a second. Okay, so Tim can go do it. So that was one of the first things. Any questions on, sorry, but let's go back here. Any questions on the Divest UNB group before? Has anybody not heard of it? Is it first? Anybody just curious? I should have put a survey.
I think I've only heard about it from you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I know I thought it was kind of weird. They've been around for years. And it's the first time I heard about it was in the fall. And that's the issue with this whole province. No one knows who Gaia is. No one knows who's EOS Sackville, which I think is a lead in the schools. No one knows who Peter that's doing off-grid 3D printers with Stu. You know what I'm getting at? Like, the guy has been to 29 schools and 29,000 students last year. And I keep asking people, do you know what the Gaia project is? No, never heard of them. It's almost like, I don't know, you have to do something criminal in order to get noticed in this province. Anyways, but that's the issue. What I'm trying to do is get awareness, and I hope this new Center of Excellence, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, will help be that portal, right? And for the change. And anyways, so another new thing since I want to talk to you guys about, it's called the Net Zero Energy Housing. And I tell you how it started. This broker in Capital A wanted to do. He has 3 solar projects. He's well off guy. He owns a lobster brokerage firm. He has 3 apartment buildings, 17 townhouses in Shediac. He wants 29 townhouses off grid, completely off grid. He wants his own EV charging station with his building with solar. Now, a year ago, he said, no, Kev, I don't need any government money. Now he's going, Kevin, need government money. Okay. Everybody wants free money, right? But he hired his nephew, and he's a physics, hint hint, Peter McDonald, physics major, but he's a former pilot now, working in his office trying to prepare these solar documents for funding, right? For 29 houses, an EV charging station off grid. Anyways, it's a big job, but there's these projects every week I'm hearing is what I'm getting at. There's no standards, like really, like other than normal electrical standards, normal, building codes. It's coming. There's no master's construction specification format for solar wiring harness, different types, microinverters, all this. So I found about this. It's called the Net Zero Housing Council, NZC, and it supports innovation. Hint, hint, Adam, your innovation with the, and I'll get you to briefly talk about your stuff in a few minutes. But their CHBA strategy is to deliver net zero housing in Canada, and they call it NZC. What they do is they take knowledge and share it. Now, I'm an engineer, Ray's an engineer, and we're trying to find a way to set standards that work with head office, APEG-NB, that align with an engineering standard. So this is the Net Zero Energy Council. Didn't know about them till 2 weeks ago. And I happened to help this company out in Capilé, which is, and EOS knows who they are. But anyways, they have projects and market advantage for builders. Of course, they're trying to get you to be a member of CHBA, be part of their council, part of their voluntary adoption. Notice that voluntary adoption. You don't have to be an NZC housing specialist, but if you can do labeling, you can start communicating and marketing your company with net zero brand. And they have educational initiatives, hint, hint. I'm tapping into them to help the youth, is why I'm targeting them. I'm going to see if they can put money into youth programs to help, and they do have financial incentives. So again, a really neat initiative with the Canada Home Builder Association, and they have master building programs. So, is there a master builder certificate eventually for net zero adaptation of solar PV on a roof or in the back of a ground mount for a deck awning, So anyways, that was pretty neat. That's brand new. It's another acronym that we could throw around, like many hundreds of acronyms we see every day. These guys are out of Ontario. See, the CHBA, but they have offices right across Canada. Yeah, there's a master's certificate program in BC too, and another program. But they work with the CHBA, which is like the envelope for all these programs. Like we could go in Atlantic Canada, we're going to start a master's builder program for net zero housing, work with CHBA, and certify our tradespeople to be master builders with the right courses and the right solar courses, hint, hint. But it's not our job. Ours youth training, is APEG-NB set up to do this, and
is there anything through NBCC?
Yeah, it could be. But unfortunately with NBCC, it's very cyclic. They had a renewable energy program for 2 years. It got discontinued. They had an energy systems program. And it's all about jobs and KPI, right? If you don't have solar jobs, now it's back going up again this year. So they'll have another program or add modules, right? We're very cyclic at NBCC. So any questions on that? Has anybody heard of the NZC? Or pretty interesting, eh? What's happening in the industry? And trades training is key in the high schools, vocational, to get them to understand. Yes, Lauren, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah. I just wanted to say I actually did a 4-day workshop a couple weeks ago with the Canadian Home Builders Association of New Brunswick. They're offering like workshops for builders. I'm not a builder, but it was about like energy efficiency stuff. So I did it. So they're going to offer it again soon, but it's a course for builders. If you're a New Brunswicker, it's free. And there's like 3 different exams that you go through in the course, and you basically get told the answers, like walked through the exam. So there's one for Energy Star builder, wow. R2000 builder, and then Net Zero builders. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, how many were? I'm just curious, Lauren. How many attended that session? You know,
I don't know if I could. Probably like between 15 and 20 people.
Okay, all for New Brunswick, for that session.
I think I don't know if you had to be from New Brunswick, but I know that it was free for people from New Brunswick.
Now, Ray,
and when they say net zero, they're talking operational, right?
Yes.
Energy.
Yeah, like it was to build like net zero ready or like net zero with solar.
Interesting. Lauren, did they talk about RET screen at all? RET screen, have you heard of that before?
Sounds vaguely familiar, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Well, reason why RET screen is a federal program. I'll bring it up here. It's by NRCan, and it's a modeling tool for energy efficiency. And just let me share that screen so I can go to it, show you. And I was just curious whether they're pushing. It's a clean energy management software. So what you can do is actually use it to design your solar project anywhere in the world. It's a downloadable project. There's a view mode, and I'll just show you a brief video on it here.
Our world needs more clean energy. Renewable energy and energy efficiency can lower fuel consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, and pollution, as well as save money. However, it's not always easy knowing what to do or where to start. But what if you had expert help to figure it out? Instead of spending money evaluating potentially bad projects, or worse, investing in one that isn't financially viable, devote your resources to a project that's going to make money, save energy, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The Red Screen Clean Energy Management Software can be your desktop energy expert. It's the world's leading software to empower cleaner energy decisions. Red Screen harnesses advanced algorithms to simplify decision-making around energy projects, including renewable energy, energy efficiency, and cogeneration. Combined with a number of databases, including global climate data from NASA satellites, the Red Screen software helps determine if a proposed energy project makes financial sense. Whether for commercial and institutional buildings, factories, power plants, or individual homes, whether you want to compare your facility to similar ones, or understand the financial feasibility of your proposed project, measure its energy performance after implementation, or build a portfolio of multiple facilities, Red Screen reduces the costs of getting real, viable energy projects on the ground and helps ensure that investments continue to perform as expected over the long term. Developed by the Government of Canada with a number of partners, Red Screen is used by the public and private sectors to help analyze, plan, implement, and monitor energy projects, and by universities and colleges worldwide for teaching and research.
So the reason I mentioned that is that it is a great teaching tool, and it's just a sec here. Couldn't share the sound. I don't know if you heard the sound. Let me. There's still someone trying to get in here. Let me. I think there's someone. Just a sec here. Make sure. Yeah, I think they're coming in here. So make sure the person's in. Yeah. Okay. So welcome. Who just came in? Rainsford, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, good, Kevin.
Yeah. Just gonna. I think there's. I think that's it. That came. Anyways, welcome. I'm just on the Red Screen. Anyways, it's another NRCan initiative that started on an Excel spreadsheet over 15 years ago. Now it's a standalone product to help in And Rainsford, the new energy center would be a great training tool for the youth in education to understand how to design solar and wind without even going there. It works with a lot of different different tools. And on that note, I like to talk about NRCan because NRCan deliver a lot of are probably one of the leading funding agency right now for a lot of the clean energy net zero projects. And I don't know if you guys are working on an NRCan proposal, but I just wanted to show you one of many. This one is for buildings and workspaces and just like I'm just going to add people in the lobby here, Natalia. And this one here is about it's open until June. I just want to show you some of the money involved. They contribute 50%. Sometimes they do 75% of total project cost, up to $5 million. So, for example, the scenario I mentioned with the 29 houses that want off-grid, they want a $20,000 system. They could actually do all 29 of those houses. If they're putting in a level 2 charger, they can integrate that project as a commercial project. Just let me get to the right screen here. And to give an example, level 2 connectors, or example, I'm running 240 proposals for the ones I'm helping promote. And just so everybody knows, I proposed an EV charger off-grid to head office. Unfortunately, got denied or accepted by council. Just too much right now, too much going on with head office, like a lot of new stuff, new staff. But, you know, 5,000 per connector. And if you go to a car dealership right now, like I went to Mitsubishi in our last meeting, and they spent 10 grand on their connectors. So they can get half of them off, $5,000 each, 50% cost, done. And because they have to get a Mitsubishi branded EV charger for every Mitsubishi across the country. You can't just put any EV charger from Quebec or any EV charger from China. And just so you know how easy it is, I just want to demonstrate really quickly with Amazon, because I'm sure with COVID, everybody's buying from Amazon. And I just want to show you how crazy it is now. Because I had a little disagreement with one of my contractors one day, and I go, you can get a Wi-Fi EV charger on Amazon. No way. I said, single phase. Watch this, level 2 charger. You want to put one in your home. You can get one for $195 now. Okay. You can get a professional one up to $429. That's level 2, 32 amp, single phase. So we're under $500 now for a charger at home. Isn't that insane? But I checked the new Jeep that's got an EV charger on it. It has it built in the Jeep. You just plug it into 110 at home, but it's not going to charge very fast. But this Jeep in particular was 62 grand, not taxes included. So I wasn't buying it to go fishing. But but what I'm saying is that I know it's crazy, but it's a real eye opener that you can buy on Amazon a Wi-Fi supported EV charger. So anywhere you are in the world, you can see if anybody's charging with your charger at home. If you got a new kid with a new car, and so it's almost as cheap as buying a cheap laptop now to have an EV charger at home, right? And so, anyways, these links for NRCan, I'm going to put this one here. There's a I don't know how many NRCan's really been proactive in funding. I've seen proposals at 75%. I'm going to put the link in the chat for the NRCan. Has anybody been talking to NRCan first funding? Lauren, you had a question? I don't know if you're muted there. Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess I never lowered my hand.
Oh, it's all right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Adam, have you guys received NRCan funding at all, or NRC funding for your?
No, well, I'll be looking. I'll be playing tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Trider, your place, your new center, any inner can funding?
No, we haven't applied for that
Okay.
funding either. So something to look into for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
thanks for the info.
So I want to show you what happened since our last meeting. It's been crazy. Tesla finally caught up, and Enercan support. I put this slide in particular right after Enercan. So anybody seen the Tesla chargers at the Irvings? There's something going on. There's probably a relationship with NB Power, but if you go to the big stop Irvings, you'll see Tesla chargers everywhere. But what you don't see is what's on top. It's called the solar canopy. That is called a ground mount installation. Those are used to power the Tesla superchargers. In Quebec, all of Tesla's superchargers are now powered by hydroelectric power because, of course, Quebec is 75% hydropower. That makes sense, right? They're renewable. But why not put solar and take it right off the grid? Well, Tesla's already doing that, okay? There's actually a New Brunswick company doing it now. And I want to show you this company. Crazy enough, it's in up north, us crazy northerns. I don't know if Alexander's here, but the company, new company I want to introduce today is True Sun. You probably haven't heard from it because it's that new. I'm going to bring up their page here so you can go to their, as soon as I find their website here. Sec here.
Must be that. The third one at the top, isn't it?
Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Tim. So this is True Sun. They're out of Beresford, New Brunswick. They do their own solar canopies. Okay, check that out. This company is so big, they import 1,500 to 2,000 containers worldwide every year in Beresford, New Brunswick.
Go away.
That's their supply chain for their principal company that owns True Sun, bring in almost 2,000 containers of import of materials for projects a year. Beresford, New Brunswick, by the way, is near Bathurst. So they're getting into the solar canopy space. One of our engineers that's on our executive, Raphael Waugh, designs these on behalf of True Sun. Okay, and but I just thought I'd mention this is in our own place. This is by local New Brunswick. Okay, and I bought 4 of these for my own deck awning. They're bifacial. You see through it, and I'm gonna couple those this summer to the grid. Now, next year I'm gonna take them off grid. I'm now adding another 4 and batteries and taking my heat pump off grid. That's my plan. My wife lets me.
You say let's or let's?
Yeah. But anyways, I just ordered them, and I'm pretty excited about it. You've got to walk the talk, if that's the right way to say it. But it's really interesting what's happening really quickly, and that's why I'm really excited about what's happening in the industry right now. So Rivian, another company, just announced its own charging network. Beam for All is another one I showed last meeting. Beam for All, FOR All. So great stuff. Okay. So you get all this new renewable, great eco experiences for kids. Who's going to promote all this? Well, with this is Adam Trider, Adam. And I just want to show a new announcement. I took parts of it, Adam, from, the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development developed with, partnering with NB Power and Gaia to launch a Center of Excellence for Energy. And Adam's with us. Maybe, Adam, you could give us a 10, 15-minute brief about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to promote in the new center. And thanks for coming on today. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but thanks for being our guest today.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I'll just switch my screen there. Let me know.
Yep, we got her.
All right, so you're seeing the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect.
Everybody else good? Okay, great.
Thanks very much, Kevin, for the invitation. I've brought a few friends along with me as well from the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. So Ransford Lockhart and Peter Kelly and Mike Cusack and our summer student Natalia Rodriguez, I think, are all on the call now as well. And we've all been working on this project for about the last year, I guess, is when the conversations around the Centers of Excellence has began. And I'll invite Ransford to jump on there and just to give a little bit of the background.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I won't talk for too long. I'm just going to cover just a few slides, and I'll pass it back over to Adam. Very excited to be here. This has been in discussion for a while now, so extremely excited to be able to be here to talk about it. As mentioned by Adam, we have launched a Center of Excellence for Energy. The purpose of today is just to give you just a quick brief around what it is and where we're going with it. Just give you some current demographics, kind of around current context in the province. We all know that there will be an abundance amount of job openings in the next 10 years, 120,000 in a variety of different sectors. As such, each year there will be forecast to be only 6,600 6,600 young people entering the labor force each year, and our population is getting older, and out-migration continues to remain a challenge, especially here in this province. Just want to shift and give you the vision and the mission for the Center of Excellence Initiative. And I should have introduced myself as well. So my name is Ransford Lockhart, Experiential Learning Lead, and myself, as well as my colleague, Mike Cusack, we are the co-leads for the entire Center of Excellence Initiative. We're here to talk to you today about energy, but we have one in the works for entrepreneurship, health, and digital technology as well. So the vision for these entire initiatives is to lead a cultural shift in the delivery of public education related to workforce development by providing learners innovative virtual and experiential learning opportunities. And the mission is to expand and enrich innovative virtual and experiential learning opportunities that connect learners, educators, and families to sector-specific expertise. And Adam, I'll pass it over to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Ransford. This sort of gives you an idea of what the center might look like. As Ransford said, the Center of Excellence for Energy is one of a group of centers operating throughout the province. I'm Adam Trider, and I'm the lead for the Center of Excellence for Energy. So I would be represented, I guess, by that blue dot in the center here, connecting the school system to the industry expertise, in this case, in the energy sector. So what we're trying to do is right now we're sort of operating in a virtual space only. We don't have a physical location, but we're trying to connect opportunities throughout the province, right from kindergarten right through to grade 12, to give virtual access to the center and to the expertise in the energy sector. For students, teachers, and families to access the center, we'll eventually launch a public-facing website to give information about the center and its activities to the general public. We'll have an internal site for teachers with their NB Education login for teachers and students that they'll be able to sign in and get access to some of our I guess, particular resources, so lesson plans and videos, slideshows, etc., for teachers and students. And we'll also have in-person events. Some of our centers may actually have a physical location. Ransford had mentioned we have a Center of Excellence in Entrepreneurship, which is tied to the IDEA centers in St. John and Moncton and the ICE Center in Anglophone North. So specific to the Center of Excellence for Energy, what we're providing or what our goals are is to increase the energy literacy of New Brunswickers. So focusing on the K-12 students and bringing that energy literacy education home with them from school. We're going to provide experiential learning opportunities for those students to engage in the energy sector. providing virtual learning supports for teachers so they can increase their energy knowledge, and finding opportunities to wedge energy concepts into the current curriculum. So we're not changing curriculum, we're not writing curriculum as a Center of Energy, we're really just extending and enriching what's currently there across K-12 on the Anglophone sector of the province. We're reaching out to our band-operated schools and our First Nations communities as well, and eventually we'll expand into the Francophone sector. And we'll also provide career and personal growth opportunities for the students in the province as well. So when I'm talking about energy literacy, we talk about an energy literate person having an understanding of the nature and role of energy in their lives, in their communities. That energy literate person will know how much energy he or she uses, and is able to make informed decisions about their energy use and be able to communicate that in meaningful ways to others. Ideally, I foresee this being information provided to students, and then the students bringing it home to have conversations with their families. When we talk about experiential learning opportunities, there's an extensive list here. What we're focusing on at the high school level would be co-op placements, whether it be traditional co-op where a student would sign up for a class in a high school in their grade 12 year, and then spend perhaps 16 weeks out physically at a workplace. We'd also be looking for maybe a blended opportunities where part of the time they'll be in a workplace, part of the time they'll be doing work in the classroom environment. And we also offer what we call mentorship virtual co-op, where a 1-credit course where a student would not be attending a workplace, but instead would be assigned a mentor from the energy sector that would guide them through information and challenges that they're experiencing in that field. The mentor would meet with that student once a week, perhaps for an hour, answer their questions and provide some assistance in digging out more information. Really providing some guidance as that student goes forth in pursuing a career path in the energy sector. We eventually would love to offer some kind of options for credit. Perhaps there's an online course in the future here on energy fundamentals or some certificate training. We would love to have some kind of partnership perhaps in the future with our MBCC colleagues to maybe offer some dual credits. So if they're learning information on the energy sector in the classroom, they can also extend that and get some pre-admission credit at an NBCC energy-related program. We would also love to see some challenges provided to students across the province. Working on piloting right now a wind energy challenge with a K-8 school in Moncton, where students are designing and building wind turbine blades to see what they can generate for the most amount of energy, given this little, just a miniature wind turbine setup that we purchased online from Kidwind. And so they're designing the size of the blades, the number of blades, the materials, the shape, the pitch, all in the goal of generating the most electricity. And we look to offer other challenges as well for students and classrooms and families around the province, maybe hackathon events where students are given challenges within the energy sector, challenges on the power grid, and how are they going to go and meet those challenges moving into the future. Virtual supports, so enhancing connections for teachers to those subject matter expertise, supporting documents for the curriculum. We'd love to expand our speaker series as well, where industry expertise or experts may provide a 10 to 15 minute video on a specific topic or role that they play within the energy sector. Teachers and students can go and access those speaker series and then follow up with activities and perhaps an in-person or virtual contact with that energy expert down the road. And we want to connect the high school students, especially with career pathways, where they're moving, basically shorten the distance for them, or at least take away the guesswork on how they can move into careers in the green energy or energy sector. Future growth for the center. We're going to launch to the teachers of the province in the fall. So be ready by September 1st with our website and resources for teachers to be able to access, developing further materials for them to use in their classrooms, Connecting some market research and field testing over the next few months with teachers and classrooms around the province, providing teachers some professional learning opportunities, and adding more partners in the energy sector. We see the real benefits for the partners as being able to engage in every school across the province, really get in there and develop the talent and close the skill gaps with those students, so they come out of high school having a better understanding of the energy sector and being an energy literate individual. We want to increase awareness of the employment opportunities that existed. As Ransford said, there's 120,000 job openings within the province in the next 10 years. And we want our young people to stay in the province in order to fill those roles, and really have an understanding of what the future of our workforce is going to look like. So our call to action is really to figure out and find those opportunities within the energy sector. So if there are folks here today that want to find out a little bit more about the Center of Excellence and have a follow-up appointment, I would encourage you to reach out, send me an email, and we can connect in the future. So I'll stop it there, and if there's any questions from you folks, I don't know where we are time-wise, Kevin, but if
that's great. Yeah, I've got about 20 minutes left, so you got 2 minutes for questions if anybody. But there's a lot of co-op opportunity. I think is a great initiative with the students in high school, especially. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I remember giving a solar panel, Ray and I, to a grade 10 student, and they now started a company called 3D Printer, an off-grid. And Peter, you can mention that and how your involvement, but you helped order all the equipment for their 3D printer. We funded it, and one of the students won a $100,000 scholarship. Maybe you could mention about that student. He's probably pretty excited, isn't he, Peter?
You wouldn't know it to talk to him, but yeah. $100,000 to go to school is a big deal.
So he's going into engineering. But that's a success. If we can get a student to get, and Peter mentored that student as a teacher, the team, and he ordered all the materials. We just gave him some funds from APEG and B Northeast. And I found out that Peter, by the way, ordered all of it, Ray. And
that's what I did. I let them work on it and ordered it. They did everything else.
But that's what counts, right? And Adam Trider and Rainsford, like use the associations, whether it's the Road Builders Association, the APEG and B, the trade associations want to help with the younger generation. In any way support. I'll give an example. Peter came up with this Putt Fest idea, which I like to include in your list of, what do you call it? The hacker lists of projects. And Peter came out with, we had lunch or coffee, and Peter goes, in November, I want to do a Putt Fest. I said, whoa, that's cool. And I said, and you know me, right? Anything that's crazy and innovative. Let me go to some of the slides of it. But just in an hour, I had 4 sponsors. I had Andrew Patterson, who owns Maury's Ice Cream Mini Putt. He's doing a new stem windmill and lazy river off grid. And anyways, they needed decorations, and Ray just helped me out. I ordered a new 3D printer that I'm printing all this crazy stuff. And this is one of the Putt Fest holes. It says Putt Fest around the golf ball goes in it. But anyways, long story short, this is kind of some of the real golf courses. And I actually 3D printed 3 salmon that are just being finalized. They look really realistic, and we're placing it by this lazy river course. But the idea with the Putt Fest that Peter came out with is that the kids have to design, and I have a Forever Flooring donating the carpet, a 20-foot or so green carpet golf course full of LED lights, and they power it, whether it's windmills, solar, we don't care, human-powered treadmill, bicycle, but they have to light it up. The trick is it has to fit in an apple barrel, whether it has to roll up or fold up, and whoever installs it the quickest and makes it work wins the prize. Whoever makes the best design off grid wins the prize, and the creativity wins the prize. So that's kind of the goal for the mini putt fest in May 2022. Whoops, I'm going ahead here. Is a proposed now Peter's going through issues with COVID. He's supposed to try to get a trial mini putt course as a prototype. I did one for the fun of it one weekend, and did a really neat course in my basement. But install time and all this is key. If you can go into a site for head office, Woody Thompson put our 60 panels in head office online in 3 days. 60 panels, fully installed, right? So those are some key things in the industry we have to recognize. That maybe Peter, you can mention about where you were at the Putt Fest. Hi, Raphael.
Hi, sorry if I'm being late.
That's
there.
all right. It's good timing. We're getting into something that's related to you here soon. I'm going to show you solar slides that we can share. Peter, go ahead about the Putt Fest. We're at the Putt Fest, and it's a fun thing. It's an off-grid thing. The client, the Maury's Ice Cream, doesn't want any batteries, so it's a challenge.
Yeah, Kevin summarized a lot of it, and there has been too much more progress on my end, but ultimately just came down to I wanted students to do something, and at the same time parallel some climate action, climate change concepts throughout the course, energy literacy, kind of build the way through it, culminating in some fun activity that they would do that other students and other parents, community would participate in. Brought kind of meeting with Kevin just by coincidence, and that came up and we went forward from there. This year I was hoping to do kind of a trial run. We tried projects first semester, they flopped, they floundered. My students are here every second day. And that it just, projects just, they have to reset. It's like that movie Memento, if you've seen that Guy Ritchie one a long time ago. They come in with a clean slate every second day. So I put any big projects in the back burner. We're getting as much kind of curriculum concepts and content done as we can, and just building a massive resource and getting ready to go for hopefully a normal year in September. So unless anyone has any questions, there's really not too much more to kind of add to that, other than we're excited to kind of implement it in May and bring hopefully a lot of schools in.
Well, maybe Adam Trider, and you could hook up Peter. I know Peter's really swamped. Like, it's tight trying to get even like 2 months notice to get a coffee break for Peter. Like, he's pretty busy with the students, and but I always appreciate his time and innovation. We actually presented him with an Innovation Teachers Award a few years ago. It's great. I like to give him one every year because he's got like a 40,000 frames per second video camera and all these crazy stuff that he does. And but I appreciate Peter, you being a good the best role model for these students and get them hopefully all engineers.
That'd be great. I'd be all right with that. I'm not an engineer by trade at all, but I push people to it.
So the next thing I want to talk about. Is there any questions for Peter?
And if there is any, I think if my email should be in the chat or in the Teams meeting, feel free to contact me anytime with questions or ideas or anything at all. Be happy to work with anyone.
So online, I'm going to switch gears, and online, thanks Peter. Online is Raphael. Raphael, I had permission from Alexander. We had a meeting here a few days ago to talk about the solar canopy, and I mentioned about the NRCan funding for level 2 charging stations with the solar canopy, and I mentioned that I'm purchasing 4 to try out the new micro inverter. Maybe just for training's sake, are you familiar with the micro inverters and why it's different than a normal inverter?
Yeah, so basically a typical inverter will take DC. Basically, you'll have all of your solar panel connected to a combiner, to a big junction box, and then you'll have one inverter that will provide the power to your system, okay? So you only have one brain and one inverter, or maybe one or two, but they're big and they have a bigger capacity. So, but a micro inverter, it's the same thing, but on a smaller scale, and you can only tie 2 to 4 solar panel on it, and it's installed under the solar panel itself, and they convert directly DC to the AC really at a smaller scale. And what you do is you add them, and the combiner, instead of being DC, it's AC. Now there's advantage and disadvantage on both system. The biggest drawback on microinverters that you don't have a neutral on the electrical. So you got 240 volts, but you don't have 120 volt. So you need to do a little bit of gymnastic with the wiring compared to if you keep everything on the DC side. And then you have one inverter itself at the end, then you can provide the voltage of what you need to have. So it's a little bit different on the electrical side, basically.
Okay. So, Raphael, do you see potential other than the solar canopy for EV charging? Do you see? I'm looking at it at the point where a couple of years I'm going to have an off-grid heat pump. Is there any other applications that you see for the solar canopy designs in New Brunswick?
So the solar canopy that the client that we did design for the client is that one that you show there is a little bit more commercial, and there's like signs on there's some panels on the sign to be able to put some publicity sign and so forth. So it's more commercial side, but technically you could use the same design and remove those publicity sign and use it for your house or your camp. And if my memory served right, we got 2 designed for them, and they have 5.5 kilowatt, and the other one is 7.5 kilowatt. So 7.5 kilowatt, for a house is very you're probably going to achieve net zero throughout the entire year, but you're still going to need a battery or the grid to be able to provide all your load that you need to have. But on the kilowatt hour at 7.5, that's where you're starting to, depending on the square footage of the house and everything. If you got a big house there, but a regular bungalow and everything, you're probably going to reach the net zero.
One of the things I want to mention about Raphael, and Raphael came up with these slides. He's been in the schools for, I don't know how many years, over 10 years, right, Raphael?
Yeah, so since university, I did those slides when I was at university in 1998. So that's when those slides were done. So when I was doing my master's degree in renewable energy, and the university asked me when I was doing my master to go at all the schools in the province to present, teach the kids renewable energy. So those slides were not updated, but that's what I did in early 2000, almost 20 years ago.
No, that's great. And we have some translation done too, and they're available. So I just want to mention to the Center of Excellence in Energy, if they're interested in these slides, we could share those with them, right? For them to use. Is that okay? And so Adam Trotter, if you wanted it, they cover everything from solar and hydro and global warming, a bit of definitions on it, but photovoltaic is kind of where we're at right now. And it's saying, and I was teasing Adam this morning because Adam Trotter about the different types of solar, and there's a lot of perception that solar is just PV, but it's thermal, it's hot air. There's a lot of different solar, but the big thing that I was talking to the city of Miramichi about is that people don't know the difference that you can put it on a roof or a ground mount. And if you go to PEI, if you ever drive around, and Peter's family's from there, like I'm mine, and if you go around to Brudenell, around the traffic circles, there's ground mounts everywhere. And one of the ones I wanted to feature today, and I want to talk about solar thermal. I'm just going to show you something here, another slide here on a solar project in Shediac. And now I'm going to have them probably in here pretty soon, but this is the proposed solar panel project. I'm just going to go right to the website. I'm going to put it in the chat. See if I can get there without crashing here. Can everybody see Shediac's Community Solar Farm? I don't know if you can see that slide here. Let me make sure it's sharing right here. But anyways, it's a 1.8 megawatt farm. Let me get to the, I think you can see it now. This is MB Power's first utility scale solar farm. It's not up and running yet. There's a big sign in front of it that looks like this on the right. Jamie Young, who's supposed to be on today, but from NJM, which is a company I wanted to talk about. He's actually installing solar today. He's actually getting this, he's on boots on the ground putting in a solar installation, but he's involved in this. So, but they've been planning this since 2016 to come get the Shediac Smart Energy Community Project solar farm. So you know, it's a lot of positive. It's great to hear that MB Power is part of it and part of this new Center of Excellence on Energy and of a net, you know, a clean energy initiative. And I just thought I'd let you know about this. I'll put this link in the chat. Actually, what I'll do is I'll send out these links too, because there's a few people not here. I'll send these out. But again, it's another community initiative and another eco experience for kids, especially Amanda from Sackville, you know, Port Elgin. Take Port Elgin school students to see this. I mean, what a way to, you know, hopefully we see more of this, right? And hopefully, Peter, we can convince our own city that have a new green plan in Miramichi to help push more solar initiatives. Email. Okay, yeah, I will. I'll send you an email about that too. So that's about that. So another new company that I met is Adam Morgan online here, and I want to show you a little. Adam, putting you on the spot here, but I'm going to show something, and he doesn't know it yet. But I have another design for his stuff. His not his awesome engineered works, but I want to show you. Me being a civil engineer, hint, hint, Raphael and Ray Ritchie, I have to boast structural stuff today, being a civil. And so does anybody, now anybody at Adam Morgan rather, what is this? What does everybody think this is?
Greenhouse?
Yeah, but what type of greenhouse? It's a solar greenhouse. Solar thermal. I'm just kidding. No, but Adam, maybe I want to introduce you. Adam Morgan. I can't pronounce the name. I'm really bad with names, but maybe you can talk about you actually have engineers that work for you. You've been on. I've seen you promoting this. You wouldn't believe how many schools right now want greenhouses that are popping everywhere. And when I met Adam, I said, Adam, you got to get into solar greenhouses for schools. And so I'll let you take the floor, Adam, for 5 minutes there.
Sure, I'll see what I can cram into 5 minutes. It all started with the greenhouse. I built one of those in my backyard, and all winter when the sun was shining, I'm working from home. I'm a software engineer, and I was working out there when the sun was out, and it was minus 10 or 15 outside, and I was sweating, honestly, in the sun. And my brain started racing. I suddenly wanted to have one on my deck. Then I'm thinking half the whole back of the house, then why not put one over top? So that's where I am. I'm going to start putting homes in domes and using ground to air heat transfer in conjunction with other passive systems to reduce HVAC costs to zero in our climate. I know it sounds grandiose, but it's all off the shelf. You guys are all aware of everything that I'm talking about. I'm new to the scene. I've loved this stuff for years, but my company doesn't even have a website yet, but we're incorporated and we're moving forward with this. We're going to build an 80-foot by 200-foot dome in Douglas, New Brunswick, over an almost 200-year-old home that we're renovating. Going to put about a dozen other single units in there, or 1 or 2 room units that we will Airbnb. So it's going to be a marketing vehicle. It's going to be like this little resort where people can go in the middle of winter and get their 30-degree sun instead of going to Cuba. Half the footprint is for food production, but with vertical gardening, you get actually the full footprint for year-round food production. Imagine growing tropical fruit here in New Brunswick. Each one's going to be also a platform for many things beyond what I'm able to conceive of at this point. But first and foremost, solar electric array sitting up and over top of the residences within. So providing shade as well as electric generation for on-site use, as well as feeding back to the grid. You all wonder, okay, well, that sounds great. What about in the summer? Well, yeah, it's going to be hot in there, but using earth tubes to provide very cold air, as we all know, it's pretty cold, 6 feet down, in conjunction with using the dome to shade all of the living space. We're going to make it year round. You know, worst case, we do have to run some fans to make it super efficient, but we can still produce that electricity on site. And yeah, that's the first phase of it, making these SoFab, solar passive habitats. Yeah, the company's so fabulous. We are so fabulous.
Now I can remember it.
Yeah. But yeah, phase 1 is to do these like SoFab B&Bs, we're calling them. Get the people through them, raise awareness about, it's going to be sustainable. Like there's water catchment with the surface, snow melt catchment. So we're going to do a lot of water sustainable processes to provide our irrigation and whatnot. But yeah, the end goal is to start building these on an even larger scale. Yeah, putting them over homes, doing like partial ones like solariums with some geothermal included to where places where full dome might not work, given restrictions. But the end goal is, yeah, these community sized 300-400 foot long ones that are food production, giving local food security, maker space repair shops in each one, affordable housing, daycares, mini college outposts to help train the staff that are going to run these places. Yeah, it's pretty grandiose, but I've got a great team building. Yeah, they're not actually working for me. Like, I don't pay them, but I do have 2 engineers on the team. One is well accredited in renewable energy in Canada, working on hydroelectric in Quebec, Alexis Bay-Roubaix, and then a mechanical engineer, PhD candidate, Andrew Mathis here in Fredericton. But a bunch of people wanting to help out with all their various professional skills, and it's an exciting time for us. And can't wait to see the connections I make through this group. And stay tuned.
Well, thanks, Shadow. I'm a true believer. I never forget Raphael. Remember Claude and from Group Roy Consultants, and
Yep.
he I'll never forget what he said. He's a mechanical engineer. He said, Kevin, nothing beats thermal, right? You can have all the PV in the world, but thermal's gonna by far be the best. But it's like the Veda VHS wars. There's a lot of PV. It's a third the cost that it was 10 years ago. And I know a guy that has 20-something panels on his house in Fredericton. He's taken his other 4 thermals and taken them out and putting 8 PVs, just because it doesn't make sense when he's got all this integration. But the economics now with the high price of electricity and the uncertainty, now with inline heating, there's a lot of things that you can do now with and now like the ones I just ordered are 415s, and the price is insane. It's it's less than 50 cents a watt now, and so at solar thermals, it's a competitive market. But I think you've got a product because people are starting to grow their own. I see so much potential in that adapt. Any questions for Adam? Any in the group? Any? I could see a lot of disruption with the product out of myself, and I'm really
There's
glad
a lot of applications. It's not just residential, but
Yeah.
commercial. Just well, imagine the example I love to give is car dealerships, and they're how many hours of labor and buckets of gasoline are they spending plowing and clearing their vehicles when their tarmac could be heating their entire operations? Things like that. We're all so focused on making cleaner energy, but we actually probably produce way more than we need if we leverage solar thermal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more company that's new that I wanted to show today is MJM, and it's in Adam's backyard. It's the former owner. What used to work? He used to be a lineman for NV Power, the owner of this company. But one of the sales guys who graduated just for me was Jamie Young. His email's here. It's called MJM, and if you want to talk about solar, Jamie today is actually doing. They do off grid, and off grid is one of our missions. It's to talk to of the clean energy group. Education is too, and we decided at our first meeting to go Gen 4, which in the UK means off grid. It's not that we don't want to grid connect with our solution, but I just want to let you know that there's a new company in the block. Just to show you how busy they are, they have 75 installs from now to September. Okay, and another buddy of mine from Woody Thompson has 15 installs to September. So I really see a huge boost in solar, and it just so happened we started this council group to bring on ideas to help try find funding. But unfortunate, there's two other companies I want to talk about that I've been doing my due diligence, and one's called Polaron Solar, and I just want to share you their just to give you a sense of what's going on in the industry right now. I'm going to share you their screen because unfortunately our province, I hope someday that we have companies like Polaron in our mix, but Polaron are now in Nova Scotia and PEI, not New Brunswick. Okay, and why? I have 109 cousins in PEI, the Gallants from PEI, and in PEI, my cousins just filled their roofs with 90% off grid. They got $10,000 grants from the PEI government out of a $30,000 system. 0% interest. They're Chinese banker backed, no percent interest. Try to buy a car at 20 grand with 0% interest. So their payments are nothing for 20 years. And give you an idea how many projects, 259 projects, 2.7 megawatts. I did the same due diligence in Nova Scotia with a buddy of mine from Amherst. Nova Scotia gave him $8,500 to be 90% off grid in an old farmhouse. Okay, so this polarized. The banks now are working with both. Notice New Brunswick's not here. Okay, so New Brunswick needs to find. Polaron need to set up warehouses in New Brunswick before they even start. I talked to them for a long time. If you look at Nova Scotia, they've got 835 projects, 7.5 megawatts, and shows you. But you wouldn't believe the proposals and how professional they are, and how well they're doing in getting these proposals to their systems.
They're the ones that are Stockholm?
No, they're across Canada. I'm going to show you where they're at. They're not from here. They're based all out of Canada. They have they push AP systems with microinverters. That's why I asked Raphael what it was. They use these inverters. They use mono mainly, Polly Karmanoff, because I asked my uncle who just getting his roof done by them in PEI, Surrey PEI, he's getting his roof done completely. Unfortunately, some of these grants don't cover ground mounts. They used to, but they don't. But they're all across the country. They fly in BC installers to work in PEI because they can't get enough in Atlantic Canada during COVID. They fly in BC specialists to install. But I just wanted to give you, I got 3 minutes left here. I just wanted to leave some minutes, but I just want to give you a flavor of just some of the companies that are and some of the things happening in the community. And I don't know if Amanda or anybody else that involved the youth wants to, talk about school, but Charles just mentioned about the Bucktoosh High School has installed a greenhouse with solar-powered subterranean heating and cooling system at it. Hint, hint. So there's a lot of these pockets, right? Now, Peter can top something. Peter, what do you, you can top something. What? I can top that. Okay.
Oh, that goes back to how many cousins you have in PEI.
Okay. Okay.
That's about my first cousin list.
Yeah, it's either McDonald's or Goliath's, right, Peter?
A lot of Richards over there too.
Yeah. So does anybody want to talk about youth projects they're involved with or lately or recently? Just on a general note, anybody want to bring that up? Yeah. There is an interest in the group to try to get NP Power to have a solar program like PEI knows. That's good, Amanda. That's good to hear. So Amanda just mentioned there is an interest in the group. And we can work together, to do that.
I can make a comment about that,
yes,
Kevin.
Go ahead, Jeff. How are you, Jeff?
I'm very good. How are you doing, Kevin?
Good.
Good. It's interesting, Charles, about Bucktoosh High School, because I have worked with a few high schools in the last 2 years who've been really interested in getting solar panels on greenhouses or even trying to hook it up to the grid on their school, sort of doing it independently, not with any support from like the infrastructure sector of the districts or anything like that. And obviously we were met with a bunch of roadblocks, primarily, getting an engineer involved to sign off on what they were doing and make sure that everything was safely done. I know there's been other schools that have sort of done things independently in their community, and I'm not sure how they got that done. And I think Amanda might know more about that with Salem Elementary School. But I kept running into the same problem where the school could only get so far before the district would kind of put up their red flag and say, hey, we need to get some engineers involved or some electricians to sign off on this. And then I reached out to some different communities for that. And I also got a lot of like, well, you're probably not going to get a lot of electricians that want to sign into something like that, because then they'll be liable for the rest of their career if something goes wrong in that property. So I never really came to any conclusion with some of those schools, and I kind of felt bad about that from an educational stance. But this is obviously the right group to talk about it. So just thought I'd kind of bring up that angle.
Oh, it's a good angle.
Yeah, and the solar panels at Salem School, I don't know, they may have gotten slipped onto the school without the district knowing. Many years ago, I don't know, the principal at the time was like, yeah, sure, free money, free panels, put them up. And she may not have checked. I don't really know, because we were looking at doing something similar again, and it does seem more difficult than it was all those years ago. So I don't know, but those panels are up and running and doing their thing. But there could be a lot more support within the school to help the teachers understand what those panels are doing and what it all means and stuff like that. So we'd love to have some funding to do more solar education. It's been hard. I don't know, we have a lot more funding at ES to do natural infrastructure stuff, and I can plant trees like crazy, but I cannot get funding to put up solar panels.
Same as our watershed here, the Miramichi River Environmental Assessment Committee, we can't get any solar of anything. It's all natural. Peter, go ahead.
If anyone needs a test site for solar panels, my classrooms, do you remember, Kevin? My classroom is rigged up already. There's a solar panel on the roof. nothing I started. It was kind of built when I started my teaching career here. And my classroom used to be a district room. In the back, far back left corner is a wall of panels, controls, grids, turbine controls. I mean, there's an old wind mill up there too. And the solar panel still works. It feeds into some batteries and it powers. I haven't checked the outlets, but it doesn't power the school. It's linked into electrical outlets in my classroom. So it's not onto the school grid, but it's on my classroom power supply, I guess. But
That's a makerspace, right, Peter?
Yeah, it used to be the makerspace. There's some remnants of a makerspace in here.
Yeah.
But anyway, the electrician work is all done. Everything's there. I guess what's needed would be maybe an upgrade in solar panel, or maybe a tie-in. I don't know what a tie-in to the actual grid would look like, but right now it's independent of the grid, but it powers outlets in my classroom. Just wanted to throw that out there.
So
to add some color, sorry, Kevin, to add some color on the subject here, and to pile on what Amanda said, on the Francophone school side, it's the same thing. It's case by case. Bouctouche, I think they had a foundation for that greenhouse for a few years that they never really got to building, so it was just there and was kind of a hazard for kids to play around. So they kind of finished it. I'm not sure how they got that, but it was a lot of help from local businesses and stuff. I did another project at École Odyssée there, and we built a food forest for their school ground. But the school there could not provide water to the school, to the garden, so we had to find rain barrel, other ways to get water, and that's fine. Memorial Cook School was interested in something similar, and they had no issues with running underground pipes for water. So it varies, it changes everywhere. Also, I sit on the board for the community center here in Cormier Village. We're working on an off-grid project there. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to be building a food forest there as well, and demonstrating different types of solar technologies there. So we'll be having some on the roof, which is not in the sweet spot due south. Then we'll have some on the ground within the sweet spot, and then one set with an X tracker and then another set with an XY tracker. So we're developing all that now. It's a long-term project, but there is a lot of interest. The fact that Cormier Village is just on the outskirts of Shediac, so we might be able to tag onto that project there. Some more information too. It sounds like MB Power is working with, is it Stash Energy out of Fredericton to supply a lot of the equipment for those 100 homes. I think that's what they're called.
Okay. I think I might have my notes here. Anyways, I'll get the link out for Stash if that's it, Charles. And so those are great initiatives. And I'm glad to hear the Francophone side, because I know Ray and I in our last meeting, we're talking about getting connected to the Francophone schools in the Northeast, bringing more science. And I finally have someone that can help point on the Francophone and Anglophone side of off-grid projects, right? And for school. So it's great to see the East working with Francophone schools too. So I'll send out the link for that, the MB Powers. I don't have it right here. Stash Energy out of Fredericton. Okay, great. It is Stash Energy. Now going back to Peter, are you planning on having that off-grid Putt Fest demo before the fall, or is it something planned for the fall, for our next meeting in the fall? I'm looking at September, the next meeting.
So that would depend entirely what my course load might look like, or be like a school club activity.
Okay.
So I don't, it's hard to say that. Depends on when the meeting would be. Okay.
No, I'm just curious because I know one of the things we had hard time with, Charles, with the Francophone is that in the Anglophone, we have a tech team. They call it a technology team, and it's led by Jamie O'Toole, and then they have a math lead, physics lead, all these leads, and then Peter connects with those leads and tries to find funding, right? What I have a hard time with the Francophone, they don't seem like they have a tech lead structure. So say if we do experiential learning with Gaia, with Jeff, on a project, I'm having the hardest time in this province trying to find the tech leads in Francophone. I've been trying to for years. Raphael, we talked about that, you know, and in many meetings. And I just want to let you guys aware that the Francophone tech teams, I don't know if they exist. It's usually just one connection and they talk to a few teachers. There's no team, okay? And so if you have a team in the East, I'd like to know, or Amanda in the East, because I would like you hooked up with the APEG-NB East branch. We're the Northeast branch. Then the Moncton have an East branch. They have funding, right? Then we have a Fredericton branch, for example, and yeah, no problem, Adam. No problem. Thanks for coming, Adam. So I'm just wondering if there's any, have you heard of any Francophone tech teams that can help out in experiential learning with this new Center of Excellence that maybe even Jeff might be involved with?
I just threw a name in the chat. I'm not sure of his current role, but he's with Francophone South. It's Mario Chiasson.
Okay.
He was with Anglophone East for a long time as our tech subject coordinator, and then left the Anglophone side for Francophone South. I'll see if I can cook up an email here for him.
Okay, because I would like in September to have all the tech leads in both Anglophone and Francophone at these sessions, you know, because Peter doesn't have time in September, right? He's starting up, you know, but I think it would be good to have the tech leads, because I learned that it's not the guidance counselors, it's not the principals, it's the tech leads that deliver the curriculum. Wouldn't you agree, Peter? The connection with youth training is kind of started in the tech leads and how to work with Fredericton before it comes to you?
It's a large part, and I mean, we're fortunate to have, I can't speak for other districts, but we've got Craig DeBlacy and Adam Hayward, and they're phenomenal at what they do and really good at it. And so they're always with teachers and students making those connections.
Right. That's what I'm looking for in the Francophone. So if you guys hear of anybody, I'd like to add them to the 30+ emails we have in the fall. And we're going to try to narrow down that. We have one in the Northeast now. I don't have it in any in the Northwest yet, in Evanston area, which is, again, a heavy Francophone area. So, but anyways, that's all on my agenda. Any questions from the guys here? I'm going to... No, there's Tim.
No, I guess just a comment. We can probably work through the APEG-NB, the Engineering Geoscience Association, especially with the Northwest branch. We can contact the chair and vice chair of that.
Oh, good idea.
And I bet you we could find contacts for their tech leads.
Okay, good. Speaking of that, last week we had a living shoreline. Speaking of nature, I know, Amanda, it's all about planting and hybrid, and so we raised another almost $800. So half that goes to solar projects for the youth. Peter, hint, hint. If you have any more students with projects in solar, or Raphael up in the Bathurst area, and Gaia, like if you think of any solar projects in the Northeast, every branch has a bit of funding to help support the schools. So, so I'm not saying don't worry about money, but
Kevin's our new cash cow.
Okay, and Amanda, I still have to get those water turbines to you guys whenever COVID ever settles down, and when we're all at the office. But thanks. That's everything, guys. It's almost 4:30. So again, we're not going to have another meeting till September. We might shoot some emails about new companies. But thanks, Charles, for sending links, and everybody. If you hear about any new funding, federal programs, let me know. And I might have to give in and have NB Power meetings this summer. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's all about off grid too, and